blue yarn, and I'm really not sure how I've like accumulated this amount of blue yarn. So I do this little series on my channel very sporadically where I basically revisit my crochet graveyard where all of my old crochet projects go to die, and I try and revamp it. I maybe frog the yarn, I turn it into something new, and I just give it a new lease of life basically. So I had one sweater that was in my crochet graveyard, which funnily enough was the second garment that I ever crocheted. The third thing I'd crocheted ever, but the second garment, and it was like a sweater. I found the tutorial from a creator on TikTok. I frogged this sweater ages ago. The sweater was cute. There was no issue with the tutorial from the designer. I was obviously just a newbie. I didn't know how to measure my body. All of the stuff that we were doing was basically completely new to me. So I crocheted this sweater. It was ridiculously short. Like, it just covered my boobs. If I was to have lifted my arms in the air, it would have gone above my boobs. So I realized ages ago that I didn't like it, and I frogged it. I wound up all the yarn again, and that yarn has just been in my stash for the better part of I'd say maybe a year. And I have had this idea for this yarn and like what to do with this yarn basically since I frogged it, but I just haven't like gotten around to doing it. I think like the other ideas I've had are just excited me a little bit more, or I've just kind of like forgotten about it. So now I'm actually going to embark on that sweater. Although I don't have it to hand and I won't be showing you like the frogging and all of that stuff, like I am going to consider this a part of my crochet graveyard series because this is like repurposed yarn. It used to be something else, now I'm going to be turning it into something different. So the idea I have is I'm going to turn it into a patchwork sweater. Very simply, I love a patchwork sweater. I love a monochromatic look as well, like loads of different shades of one colour. I think that looks so cool. And yeah, I've had this idea for quite some time and now I'm going to actually execute it. But if you know me, you know I love to add a little bit of pizzazz to my crochet wearables, and I basically have an idea where I want to do each patch a different stitch, and I don't know what stitches I'm going to use yet. I don't know how I'm going to execute it. I don't know how it's going to look. I think it could look really cool though. And I love a textured stitch. Like, as much as I love a classic single crochet, half double crochet, double crochet, I love a textured stitch. I love something that looks a little bit more unique. I love something that is eye-catching, and yeah, I just love using things that are outside of the normal stitches that we kind of typically see in crochet wearables. So I thought this would be like a really great way for me to not only utilize some of the stitches that I have like grown to love over the few years that I've crocheted, but also try some new stitches that I've maybe not wanted to necessarily have in an entire garment. Maybe they feel a little bit bulky or whatever, but yeah, just try something new. For me personally, variety is like the spice of life, and so the fact that I'll be able to use like so many different stitches in this one sweater is actually really fun for me. So let me show you the yarn. Also, if I'm moving a little bit weirdly, I did just twinge my back whilst I was changing the bedding of all things. I literally like bent down to put the pillowcase over the pillow to obviously like put it on, and then like my back on my side has like twinged, and I thought it was just a cramp. It's been like a couple of hours, so it's not a cramp. If I'm moving weird, that's why. This is what happens when you get old. To be fair, I have sciatica, and I've had sciatica since I was like in my early 20s, so this is not from being old, but like it fucking feels it right now. So let me get my yarn. Ow, laughing hurts. I'm gonna show you the yarn. Okay, I'm gonna move it like so it's closer to me, so I don't have to move so far. It wasn't that far. It wasn't that far at all. But yes, here is the yarn. Okay, so also one thing about this yarn is that when I first started crocheting, basically my mum, I'm gonna put this down while I talk. My mum used to knit, and she still knows how to knit, but she just doesn't really like knit as regularly. She used to knit, my nan used to knit, and she taught my little sister how to knit as well when she was really little actually. I think she was maybe like, I want to say like maybe 8 or 9. She was really young when she started knitting, and I never really she never really taught me how to. I never really was like particularly interested in learning, I think because like my mum didn't really knit like garments, so like she would knit like bags and little teddy bears and stuff like that, and I just didn't really have any interest in that. But yes, my mum had accumulated quite a bit of yarn from my nan, and also when she was knitting, and then obviously when my younger sister was knitting. So when I first started crocheting, she basically brought like this massive bag of yarn to my house, and she was like, yeah, just like, you know, go through it, take your pick. And I raided her. And so a lot of this yarn is actually from my mum. Probably I'd say the large majority of it, maybe like besides like 2 or 3 of the colours, but the large majority is from my mum. So that is another cute little thing that I will be adding to this sweater, is that I get to use some yarn that my mum gave me. So it's quite nice, actually. It feels quite wholesome. So yes, let me actually show you the yarn. Obviously, like I said, I did frog it from different projects. So this is like the first, and I've kind of like separated it into baskets because there are some colorways that kind of are very similar. They're so similar that in like, you know, lamplight, if it's like I'm crocheting in the evening, I can't really tell the difference. So I have like separated them in different baskets. Also as well, because like all of this yarn won't fit in one basket. But here is like the first kind of basket. We have like a nice little turquoise. This is the Next Gen DK that is left over from my clown jewel sweater. This is from the Wool Factory. This is my mum's yarn. All of this stuff is my mum's yarn. So yeah, some fun shades of blue there. And then for the next basket, this is also my mum's yarn. Is this one my mum's? This one is left over from my Halloween cardigan, the tapestry crochet project that I did. This was what I used for the little ghosty. And then this is the yarn from my mum. This is all like one colorway. But do you see what I mean? Like these 2 colors in particular, they look really similar. It's a bit easier to kind of tell the difference on camera, but in person, like it's actually quite hard to tell. And especially when it's like, ow, my back, ow. But especially when it's dark as well, like I have to like get my torch out on my phone to be able to tell the difference, which is pretty crazy. And then for the final like basket of colors, we have these. So this is from my mum, this is from my mum, this one is from my mum. This is also left over from my Halloween sweater. This was like the darker shade color that I used for my little ghosty. This is the teal color from a bajillion projects that I've used. This was from my first ever Check Me Out cardigan. Also used it for my Halloween project of 2024, and I use it for the Brontosaurus sweater. So if you saw that vlog, you know that like I did have some of it left. I really want to use this fucking yarn because I want to finish it. I really hope that I'm able to utilize all of this yarn, to be fair, because I think like, yeah, I think I should be able to. I'll try my best. But yeah, so this one in particular, I'm like, get the fuck out of my stash. And then I have like a little bit of this like dark blue, which was also from my clown jewel sweater, and also my Kindle cover that I did recently. So yes, that is all of the yarn. I'm unsure about like how I'm gonna do it. I'm unsure what stitches I'm gonna use just yet. I do have like a few in mind, a few like favorites of mine. There are some stitches that I've really wanted to do for quite some time, but like they're kind of bulky, or they're a bit like, they're yarn eaters, you know, and I'm kind of like, I don't really necessarily want to make a whole garment out of it, but because they're textured and they're fun and they're maybe a little bit plush and bulky, I think could actually look really cool as like, you know, a patch on this like patchwork sweater. So yeah, that's what I'm going to be making. This is a crochet graveyard revamp of sorts. Ow. And yeah, I think it's gonna be fun. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm also planning on doing a pattern for it because I think it'll be really fun, and I think it will be a really great way for people to like stash bust and use yarn that's in their stash. It will also be a really fun way for people to like try new stitches and try like a new method as well, and different like stitch types, that sort of thing. I think that'll be really fun for a lot of people. So yeah, I will be doing a pattern for it. By the time this video comes out, I should hopefully have like the testicle open. Obviously I would like talk more about that because I've just started it, so I need to actually like finish the sweater and write the pattern. But yeah, I will hopefully have the plan is to have the testicle out by the time this video comes out. If this sweater is something that interests you, if you want to do some stash busting, if you want to try some fun new funky stitches, also if you are plus size, I would love for you to apply to this testicle. I will obviously give you more information when I'm not in pain and when the actual sweater and pattern is done and written. But yes, that's off the top of my head how I think it's gonna go. So yeah, that's what I'm gonna make. Let's get cracking. Okay, here is the first strip. I don't know, what do I call this? The first panel? It's not really a panel, whatever, you know what I mean. I'm loving this. This is so much fun. I am having a great time being able to do all of these different fun stitches, and I'm literally like, oh, what do I want to do now? I'm gonna add this. Oh, what do I want to do now? I'm gonna add this, which is so fun because I love I love trying different things. I love different stitch patterns. I love like all of the way the different textures look together as well. And I love the fact obviously that I'm able to use like all of these different colours. So let me show you like a little close-up of the kind of first strip that I've done. So we've got this stitch, super fun. We've got this stitch, also super fun. This stitch, super fun. They're all super fun, by the way. This stitch, and then we got this stitch. So the way I'm thinking about the construction is I'm basically going to just do like my little strips, then I'll join them all together, then I'll do the same with the sleeves, then I'll do ribbing everywhere, and then that's kind of how I'm going to do it. So I'm just going to like Tetris it all together, I think. I do think that I have made it one square too long, so I kind of want it to be the same length as my current sweater, but I am going to be adding a little bit of ribbing. So I basically essentially need it to be the exact same height as this one. So if I put it up, I think, yeah, at the moment this square, this one should be my top one. So I think I'm gonna like frog this top one and then just have it as like four squares tall, if that makes sense, and then I'll have like a good amount for the ribbing to make it like a full length sweater. So I think that's what my plan is. So with each of the stitch patterns, obviously they have like different like stitch multiples and stuff, and as I've been going along, I've just kind of been figuring out like which ones are going to work with which other stitches, if that makes sense. So obviously like in the pattern, what I'm planning on doing is like grouping them all together. So it's basically going to be like with one row you can use all of these stitches because they'll have like the same stitch multiple, and then another row you will be able to use all these ones together because they will have the same stitch multiple. So I think that makes sense to make sure that like the stitch count for each patch is even. Obviously as well, because of the fact that I'm using different stitches, like some of them do look a little bit different. Like this one in particular, I think height wise looks a lot longer, and it also looks like it's kind of shrunk up a little bit because it's a lot of single crochets, but I am going to be blocking it, and I did like measure it correctly because I've been measuring like each square, because obviously where this is like the first time I'm doing each square, I don't know how many rows it's going to take for me to get to like the measurement I need. Yeah, it's kind of like a tiny bit of like trial and error, but like there's not much error involved, which is good. So it's just like a lot of testing things, a lot of like, oh maybe this will work, and then like it does work, you know. So yeah, I think it's going really well. I'm really looking forward to continuing and like utilizing some of the other colors as well. But yeah, it's really fun. I really love like the combination of blues as well. I feel like all together this is going to look really cool. I'm very excited actually. How fun. Let me just show you like a little close-up of the actual like full, you know, strip, because yeah, I think this is gonna look sick as fuck. I think it's gonna look really cool. Yeah, okay, because I was like, obviously like I kind of knew like it would be fine because it's just a patchwork sweater with all blue colors, but I wasn't sure how like the different stitches were going to kind of like come together and if it would like look a bit weird. But no, I think it actually is going to look really cool. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this. So yeah, I'm gonna crack on. Like I said, I'm gonna frog this like top panel just so I have like the 4 squares, and also as well, as much as I love this stitch pattern, is that the right way? Yeah, it's really fun. I don't think I want any that this kind of like airy. I think I want the stitches that I use to be a little bit more kind of like closed fabric, you know. Obviously I want this to be a sweater, I want it to keep me warm. These other ones are very kind of like textured but still a close fabric, if that makes sense, whereas this one obviously has like some gaps to it, and obviously once I block it there'll be even more. So I think I'll just like not use this stitch for the actual sweater, see if I can find any others that I like, and I do have a bunch of others that I really want to test out. I think in total I've kind of like written them all down, but I think in total I'm gonna have like 11 stitches for this whole sweater that I really want to do. Maybe I can get rid of some, but I really like them all. Let me see how it goes. I think 11 is fine. I think it's fine. I think 11 stitches is cool. I'm also really struggling to think of a name for this sweater because obviously I don't want it to be like related to the color blue. I don't know, like multi-stitch sweater just sounds like a little bit boring. I love a punny name, like I love puns, so I'm trying to think of like a pun that could work with this. Like, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I'll have to have like a little think. I maybe might post something on TikTok as well to see if anyone can like give me any pattern ideas, like pattern name ideas. If somebody does give me a pattern name that I use, I will give them the pattern for free, by the way. That's what I've always done. I think I've only ever used one suggestion before, but I did send them the pattern once it was done. So yeah, it's going good, basically. All of that to say, it's going very well. Okay, so I think I have finished with the front panel. Here are all of my little strips. I did change, so I think I mentioned that I had done one extra square for like, I think like maybe 2 of the panels, and I did obviously frog one of the panels, but there was one stitch that I used that was just a little bit too lacy. It wasn't like lace, but it was just had like a few chain spaces in there, and I wanted a lot more, I wanted the stitches to be a lot more solid, so I did change it to this really nice one. It's very textured. It does still have like a tiny bit of like a chain space in there, but I feel like because it's more of a solid fabric, it's more of like what I wanted. I also added this stitch as well, and then I think that's all of the like new ones, but I really love how this is looking. I wasn't sure how I was going to feel about all of the different textures with all of the different colors, because obviously like having a patchwork sweater is kind of like jazzy enough in itself, so adding all of these different stitches could have made it look a little bit too busy or maybe a little bit too much, but I really like it. I think the thing that I'm really enjoying is that each of the little strips have worked up really quickly, because each square and each patch has been a different stitch pattern, so it's been really fun to create each panel, and I feel like I've like managed to kind of get through it relatively quickly, like without trying, sort of thing. So this has been really fun so far. I do think that I need to kind of like just rejig the neckline a little bit. I think this square might be a little bit too big, but yeah, it's looking really good. I did another kind of like 3D stitch here, we've got another 3D stitch here, but I really like the fact that I've been able to kind of like nestle them into other stitches where they're not as textured and they're not as like 3D. But yeah, this is my update. I think I'm gonna just faff around with the neckline for a little bit, and then I can start working on the back panel. In terms of yarn, I'm not sure how much I'm gonna have left. I think I should be okay. I think as long as I don't do many more of like the stitch patterns which are yarn eaters, like this one, like the puffy one, and this one. Obviously I can incorporate them a little bit more in like colors where I've got a little bit more of that color, but I do think that I should probably not do as many of these kind of like yarn eater stitches. I do think as well for the back panel, I'm not going to do as many of like the 3D ones, because obviously like sitting down and like leaning against a very 3D and like bobbly stitch, I don't think is going to be particularly comfortable. So I think I'm going to just focus more on the ones that are still like textured but not like 3D, if that makes sense, because I think that'll just be more comfortable for me to wear. But yeah, this is my update. I think it's going really well, and I cannot wait to show you the rest. Hi friends, so I don't think I've done an update in like a little while. I've been making some very good progress, you know, so let me fill you in. This is all of the yarn that I currently have left. There's this bag, and then we have these very small amounts left over. A lot of the colors I have like run out of, well, not run out of yarn, but I have like minimal amounts left. So that's all of the mint. This is all of like one of the shade, oh, I'm gonna say one of the shades of blue, as if I don't have a million shades of blue in here. This is another leftover amount, and then we have this amount of the darker blue. And you want to know something amazing? So you know the teal coloured yarn, not the teal, the like dark kind of, the dark blue, not this blue but the other darker blue, which is more on the teal side. I finished that yarn. If you don't know, I'm pretty sure I mentioned it, but I have, my rabbit's going to be really annoying, but I have been trying to use up that yarn for the past like 3 projects, but it's gone, it's donezo, as in I don't even have a little bobbin or ball left. I've done, it's all gone. So that's actually made me very, very happy that I've managed to get rid of all that yarn. Well, not get rid of, but like, you know, used it, because it was just like the sisterhood of the traveling pants where it just would not end. So I'm very pleased that I don't have that one left. But yeah, not a huge amount of yarn left over, which is great, because this was very much like a stash buster project, and I really wanted to like utilize a lot of the yarn that I had. Please don't do this, I'm recording. Don't be annoying, you have food, what's your problem? You will come out later. Do you hear this? This is what I have to deal with. He's such a sassy little bitch. This is my rabbit, by the way, if I didn't mention. He just like gets very annoyed if he doesn't get his way, and sometimes he doesn't get his way and he is a little bitch about it. But I love him, he's my baby, I love him with all my heart. Anyway, back to the actual project. So my body panels are off of the blocking mats. They look real fucking good, guys. I'm really, really pleased with how it's turned out. The drape is so nice. Probably not like the best way for me to show you, but the drape is absolutely lovely. Is that the right way? Yeah, this is the right way. The drape is really nice, really lovely. I didn't like stretch them out massively. I honestly just wanted to obviously like relax the fiber, but I feel like anything patchwork just really benefits from a block, especially where you're like seaming up these kind of like strips. And what I did was, let me show you the back side. Obviously each of the colors are like all different no matter where I'm kind of joining them up. And one thing I hate about having to do patchwork stuff is that sometimes you can see the yarn from like where you're joining it, and as much as I know that like sometimes it's like unavoidable, it's something I really don't like. And obviously I'm looking at it really close up and I'm the one wearing it, so like I often, it's just something that bothers me. So what I did was that I basically, with like say this color and this color, I basically joined it with like either one of them, so that when I did seam it up, you actually can't really see like the seam join, if that makes sense, because it's like one of these colors. So I think that that really helped. Also, what I kind of realized like halfway through when I was joining the front body panels was that I should have left a really long tail, well, not really long, but I should have left like a long tail at the end of some of these squares so that I could use that long tail to sew the strips together. So if you are going to do the pattern, that's just like a tip from me. When you're cutting off your yarn, leave a long tail, then you can use that tail to like sew the strips together, meaning one less end to weave in. So it's fine, it's not the end of the world, but I was just like, oh duh, that would have been a really good idea. But yeah, this is the back panel. Is this the right way? Yes, this is the back panel. That's all done. I think the drape is so much nicer. I did, when I was seaming it, so as well, I usually do single crochet when I'm seaming stuff together, mainly just because I think it's like a little bit of a stronger of a stitch, and often I just prefer the way it looks. But I feel like, again, with patchwork stuff, like I didn't want to have to keep like stopping and starting and like joining a new color every time I like reached a different square. So I just sewed it, I just whip stitched everything together. I wouldn't say it's particularly noticeable, nor is it like very bulky or anything. You gonna focus? Yeah, nor is it any bulky or anything like that, which is something that I actually really prefer, because I've done a couple of patchwork projects, and I think like, especially when I was more on the beginner side, I joined them all with single crochet, and like when you're wearing it, you can kind of feel the lines of the single crochet. But yes, so that is the back panel. I obviously need to weave in some ends, and what my plan is that I'm going to seam up the strips for the sleeves, block them. Whilst they are blocking, I will weave in the ends on the body panels, because then hopefully by the time I finish weaving in those ends, the sleeves will be dry, I can weave in those ends, and then I can, you know, seam everything up and then do the ribbing. Moving on to the sleeves, I have finished the actual crocheting part, so I have no more crocheting of the actual sweater to do. I have just got to, let me just make sure I put these in the right order. I have just got to seam up my sleeves. Here is sleeve number 1, and so by this point I wasn't like running out of colors, but I definitely had like less colors to work with, so I had to kind of think a little bit more methodically about how I was putting these colors together and like which order I was doing it, because obviously I don't really want like the same colors next to each other. I feel like I've like worked through this really quickly. I really don't think this has taken me like any time at all. I think what's fun about it is that obviously each square is not like massive, so each square like works up kind of quickly, and then added on to the fact that I'm doing a different color for each square, that's also really fun. And then also adding on the fact that I'm doing a different stitch for each square, I feel like I'm just like really excited to do each square, and like I'll be able to do like 3 squares, 4 squares in like an evening, and probably even more than that, you know. That's if I'm like very much taking my time, and if I'm like doing stuff, I've got chores, I'm having dinner, I'm talking to my partner, whatever. So I feel like I've sped through this quite fast. So that's great, because if you are also somebody who is a bit like me and loves a bit of variety, you know, spice of life, then you'll probably really enjoy this project, because like it's not boring. You're doing something new every like fucking 20 rows, so that's really fun. Least favorite part is probably seaming everything together, just because like I hate sewing, but it is better than having to single crochet on the sides of the stitches, because that is my idea of hell. That's also another reason why I decided to sew everything, because I wanted to save yarn. I could not put myself through the torture of having to single crochet through all of these strips for the sleeves, for the body. Oh my god, I could not do it. And then also I think it looks better, so it's like a win-win-win, a triple win if you will. But yeah, that's it, that's my update. I'm gonna do all the things I said I'm gonna do. I'm gonna watch Buffy, because I have started watching it. I used to watch Buffy when I was really little, but a lot of it I really don't remember. I think probably because I was like a literal child, but yeah, I don't remember a lot of it, and I don't think I ever like watched all of it. Like I think I watched like the large majority, but you know, it was like one of those shows where you just like put it on, and part of me is like, some of it I really remember this episode, some of it I'm like, I have no idea what's going on or who these people are. But I'm on like season 2, midway through season 2. Fucking hate Xander, which is so funny, because when I was younger, like I remember hating him, but like I kind of found him a bit funny. But now I'm just like, you're a terrible person. He's a really terrible person, a really terrible friend. Anyway, I'm gonna watch Buffy. I'm gonna do this stuff. We'll catch up soon. Hi friends, so I have an update. Oh, my hair is looking very flat at the moment. I didn't style it, so it's just, I'm just looking a bit Edna Modi, but that's fine. What was my last update? Who knows? I have done my body panels, both of the back and the front panels. The ends have all been woven in. Excellent news. I've just pulled my sleeves off of the blocking mats and they've blocked really, really nicely. I didn't like particularly stretch them out or anything. I just wanted to give them a little block, a little wash as well, just to relax everything. I think they look really cute. And now I'm just weaving in the ends. Yeah, so I've just started weaving in the ends on this one. I've only got like a few more at the end there, but yeah, it's going well. I foresee myself being able to finish this relatively soon, which is great news. But I figured whilst I weave in the ends, I could kind of talk through like my inspiration for this sweater. Also, I just went to go like film a TikTok about it, and the patches is giving me like Elmer the Elephant vibes. And I don't know if this is like a very niche reference, because my partner never read. Elmer the Elephant is basically a kid's book. It's like a picture book, and I have a distinct memory of having it in like my nursery school, so it must be very old. And when I said to my partner, I was like, oh, this reminds me of Elmer the Elephant, he was like, who? I was like, how do you not know Elmer the Elephant? She was like an icon. So I'll put up a picture of what Elmer the Elephant looks like. But please, if you... I have a hair in my eye. What's happening? Here it is, found it, it's attached to me. But if you read Elmer the Elephant, if you recognize Elmer, please let me know, because I feel like I'm going a bit crazy. Yeah, Elmer was like an icon, so I'm like, how did you not know? Obviously, like, I was a child, I was very, very young. Maybe if you're a millennial, or maybe if you're even younger, I don't know. Elmer might transcend generations, who fucking knows? But I really love how it looks. I really love like the patchwork look of it, and yes, it does remind me of Elmer the Elephant. But in terms of my inspiration, I knew that I kind of wanted to do like a patchwork sweater, and usually like the stuff that I'm inspired by or stuff that I want to make is sometimes things that I've like seen in real life. So it might be like a piece of clothing that I've seen in a TV show, or it might even be something that I own already from like a fast fashion brand or like another brand or something, and I'm like, I want to recreate it. But with this one, I didn't actually like see anything in particular where I was like, oh, I want to kind of like recreate it. I just knew that like I wanted to have a patchwork sweater. But the inspiration for me, and funnily enough, another like children's book reference I guess, is does anyone remember Touch and Feel books? I don't know if they're still around, but I used to love Touch and Feel books, and it all makes sense now knowing that I'm autistic. So I'm like, oh, I was literally sensory seeking. I'm a very tactile person. I love like physical sensations. I know it's gonna sound crazy, but I'm a very tactile person. I like different textures. I like being able to feel things. I love a little like squidgy fidget toy and stuff like that. My sensory seeking is usually stuff that's like tactile rather than like visual aids and visual stims, if that makes sense. I used to love a Touch and Feel book, and I used to love the like different pages, and there'd be like crunchy things, and there'd be furry things, and there'd be like squidgy things. It would be so fun. And I remember like my mum would never let me buy Touch and Feel books because I had like quite a high reading age for my age, so I never really was like, the only time I was ever really allowed to read like children's books was when I was in like nursery and school, because that's kind of all they had there. But I like used to read books like when I was really little, sort of thing. Like, you know, I don't know if you remember, but you know those like they used to have like little compilation books where it would be like stories for 7-year-olds or stories for 6-year-olds and stuff. And I have a distinct memory of like my local, it wasn't called Waterstones, but I had a local bookshop called Heifers, which is funny now thinking about what the word heifer means, but it was called Heifers, and it was a bookshop, and they used to have loads of kids books, loads of like YA books and stuff, and they used to have these series of books from different authors and stuff, where it would be, yeah, a compilation book of books that are suitable for 6-year-olds, 7-year-olds, 8-year-olds, 9-year-olds. And I remember I used to read like higher than my actual age, sort of thing. Like I would read like, when I was like 6 or 7, I would read like the 10, 11, 12 kind of age group, because like my reading was more advanced. And I'm not saying this to be like arrogant or anything, this is just like a literal fact. Like my reading was so advanced for my age that my teacher would get me to help teach the other kids in my class how to read when I was in like infant school. Like I was an advanced reader. So yes, I wasn't allowed to kind of read, I didn't own any picture books, purely because like my mum was kind of like, it's just a waste, like you'll read it in like 3 seconds and then you'll be like, I want to read something else. And she was right. She was right. Like, I would have 100% got on board. But I used to love a touch and feel book, and I feel like this is like my own version of a touch and feel book, because there's so many different textures and there's so many different feelings, especially the fact that I'm using different yarn as well. Like, even if I was doing all the same stitch in different yarn, they would still feel ever so slightly different. But yeah, that's kind of like my inspiration, I guess. Like, kind of the vibe that I'm going for is like basically a human touch and feel book. I hope that means that people don't touch me without my consent, but whatever, that's the whole thing. But yes, so that's kind of like where my inspiration is coming from, I guess. I'm very excited to wear it because I feel like the fit is going to be so nice and snuggly and cozy, because it's going to be quite like baggy and oversized on me and like a bit slouchy. But I haven't got like a huge way left to go. Does that make sense? I haven't got a huge amount left. I haven't got a long way to go, is what I'm saying. I reckon maybe in like the next couple of days. Annoyingly, I am seeing my bestie tomorrow. Not annoyingly, because I love her and I want to see her. But I'm seeing my bestie tomorrow, and I really wanted to wear this when I'm seeing her because I think it will be really cute. But I don't think I'll have it done in time, and that's okay. I'm not gonna like rush myself in order to get it done. But it would have been nice to be able to wear like a cute cozy, because we're just like hanging out at home, we're just catching up. Yeah, I was like kind of like, oh, maybe I'll be able to wear it, but alas, I cannot, and that's fine. I'm sure there'll be many more opportunities for me to wear it. But yeah, I'm really loving how it looks. I'm really glad that I've been able to utilize so much of this yarn as well. Like, I do think I'm gonna have a little bit more left, which I think is absolutely okay, but I do think I will have used up the large majority of it, which is great. That's like the intention of it. I've been watching Buffy mostly whilst I've been crocheting this. I'm on season 3. Yeah, I'm on season 3, episode 3. Faith has just arrived. What bit was I just weaving? This bit. Faith has just arrived, and I definitely remember Faith because I fancied her when I watched Buffy for the first time. But I remember seeing Faith in Bring It On as well, and I remember fancying her in Bring It On. So I think it was just Eliza Dushku in general. And I suppose she's been in a bunch of other stuff. I can't remember. She's been in other 90s shit, hasn't she? She was very big in the 90s and the early 2000s. But yes, I used to obviously have a crush on Faith. Who didn't? Which bisexual autistic person didn't have a crush on Faith growing up? She's kind of annoying in the first episode. Like, this is the first episode where she's been introduced, but she's kind of annoying. But I'm enjoying it. I still think Xander's an asshole. He's so awful. Like, he's actually so awful. He's a really bad friend as well. Like, obviously all of the, well, not obviously, but if you've watched Buffy, all of the stuff with like Angel has been happening, and Buffy like freaked out and then like left, and then now she's back obviously. But they were really mean to her. I was like Xander's like shouting at her in front of everyone. I was just like, fucking leave her alone. I will kill you. I was like, I will actually punch Xander in the face, because why are they all being so horrible to her? Like, she's going through some shit. Did she handle it the best? No, but she's dealing with a lot of stuff. Like, leave her alone, fucking hell. Anyway, I'm enjoying Buffy. What else do I have to say? So I started reading One Piece the other day, and my bestie's partner is like obsessed with One Piece. It's like his favorite anime, and I have watched the live action One Piece, like the first series. I think there's only one series, and I think I've watched like, I want to say like 40 to 50 episodes of the anime. And as much as I was like intrigued by the story, because I watched in order, I did live action and then I did the anime, and then now I'm reading the manga. And as much as when I was watching the anime, I was like, oh, I really enjoy this story and I find it fun and it's entertaining, I was just like, every episode is longed out so much. Like, I understand how there's like a bajillion episodes, because it's just like, I feel like they really drag stuff out in the anime, and like that's fine, but I'm just like, I would like to get to stuff that's happening. Yeah, I'm really enjoying reading the manga. That is my very impromptu reading and TV update in terms of what I've been reading and what I've been watching. But now I'm going to continue weaving in these ends, and I will keep you posted on how it goes. Okay, update time. So I've very nearly finished. The whole thing has been assembled. I've attached the sleeves, body panels are all attached. I have done the bottom ribbing, which I think looks really cute, and then I've just finished the neckline ribbing, but I do think I'm going to just frog it and do it a little bit looser, because it's a bit like higher up than I would like, because I was thinking maybe I could do a fitted neckline, and then I realized I don't want that. So I tried it on. It's just sitting a bit too high, and where I want this to be kind of a bit more of a slouchy, oversized, relaxed sort of fit, it's just a bit too snug. So I'm gonna just frog what I've done already, and then I can just amend that slightly, make it a little bit looser. But what I've realized as well is that the sleeves are too long by basically one entire square, which kind of works out quite well because I don't have to faff around with like doing like a half square or anything like that. But I did weave in my ends, which is kind of annoying. So I don't think it's like the end of the world, but I think what I'm gonna do is just like the seam that I did joining the sides of the sleeves together, I'll undo that, and then hopefully it won't be too difficult for me to just frog these 3 squares from each of the like strips that I did for the sleeves. So yes, that's the plan. I do have to perform some minor surgery on the sleeves, but not the end of the world. And this is why I don't weave in my ends usually as I go. I'm very much an advocate of weaving in the ends at the end, just in case I need to like make any amendments like this. Luckily for this, it won't be like too bad, but obviously because I've woven in the ends already, it does make my life a tiny bit more annoying. But it is like a minor inconvenience that I have to deal with, because now I have to like find the end or like cut out the end that I've weaved in, if that makes sense. But if I had an end that I could just undo the chain, then that would be a lot easier, but it's fine. But overall, I think it's looking really, really cute. I love how it looks. The fit on it is really nice on me as well. Very slouchy, basically exactly what I wanted. But those are the amendments that I'm gonna make. I'm gonna work on all of the things that I've just said, but hopefully I should have this finished kind of soon. It has turned out so cute. So with my last update, I did fix the sleeves, and I literally just got rid of the last like set of 3 squares. It was kind of okay to do it. Like I probably like wasted a little bit more yarn than I would have liked, but I'm really not that bothered. I think the fact that I was using like scrap yarn kind of aided that a little bit. I wasn't too pressed about if I lost some of the yarn, but it meant that I kind of regained some of this minty colour, and I used that for the edge of the sleeve. I used a different colour for the edge of this sleeve, different colour for the ribbing at the top, and then for the bottom as well, which I really, really like. I feel like it just adds like another little fun touch to the whole sweater. Not that I think it needs it, because I think it's very fun on its own, but I think it looks so cute. It's the perfect fit. I'm really glad I went for this kind of like baggy, slouchy, oversized sort of fit. I really love how the sleeves turned out, and I'm very glad that I did end up just doing that minor surgery and getting rid of that last square, because even with just the squares, it kind of sat on my hand, and as much as I could have done like a more fitted ribbing to kind of cinch it in, I think it just would have been very like baggy and too much material kind of at the edge of my wrist and like at the edge of my arm. So I'm very glad that I decided to take off those extra squares, but I think it looks so good. I love all of the different colors together. I love all of the different textures together. Every single square feels a little bit different, but yeah, I absolutely love it. I think it's turned out really cute. It's very, very comfortable, very snuggly and warm. I really love that I was able to utilize so much of my scrap yarn as well. And let me show you how much yarn I have left. So the most amount I have is probably this turquoisey color, which I'm probably going to reskein or recake because that ball is looking pretty gross or pretty messy. But then I didn't bother frogging these 2 extra patches. I will do at some point, but for now I was like, I don't really need to. So I've got this amount left, and then the next largest amount I have is this color, which is one of the kind of like denim-y shades. And then I also have a decent amount of the other denim-y shade, which was the shades that I had like the most yarn in. And then the rest is just, oh, another square, another patch there. And then the rest is just like miscellaneous amounts of each of the other colors. So you can see I've got a little bit of the minty color, the kind of like darker purpley denim, this brighter blue, the other turquoise. So yeah, not huge amounts of that left. Obviously like a good chunk of the others, but very much still scrap yarn. But as much as I wasn't able to finish all of it, I'm very glad that I reduced it so significantly, and like I can now put the whatever's left towards like my actual scrap yarn pile or bag, and then I can maybe make a fun scrappy project out of it. I really want to make the Loopy Studios scrunchie bag. I feel like that's like the perfect scrap yarn project, and so I'm trying to accumulate like actual scrap yarn where it's like I don't have that much of it left at all, and then I can hopefully make a fun little bag. But as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, I am going to be doing a pattern for this. Obviously I am in the midst of writing this pattern, but there will be a pattern tester call or application form linked in the description. So if you would like to pattern test this for me, please apply on the application form. I'm not particularly strict when it comes to my pattern test. I obviously just would like you to complete it. That's like pretty much it. You don't have to post on your social media. You don't have to have like a crochet account. Ideally you would have like an open crochet an open Instagram account, just so I can see that you're a real person and not like a bot. It's a 10-week pattern test, so you have like basically over 2 months to crochet the sweater, and I think this is going to be really good for people who maybe want to stash bust as well. Maybe you've got a bunch of scrap yarn that you want to utilize. I feel like the color combos are going to be really, really easy to put together because you can literally do whatever you want. I also think it's going to be really good for people who want to try new stitches, try new things, try things maybe a little bit out of their comfort zone, and try like some techniques that maybe you've never tried before. So if that sounds like you, if you like the look of this sweater and you would like to make your own and pattern test it for me, you can find the application form in like linked in the description, or if you're on my socials it will be linked in my link tree. You don't need any specific yarn. As I mentioned, I used all scrap yarn. Some of them were even like different weights of yarn, which did not kind of impact the sweater at all, and because of that you don't need like a specific crochet hook. So I think this is going to be really good for a lot of people. I think this is going to be a really fun pattern. I would love to see lots of plus size people apply because I love seeing my creations come to life on plus size bodies. Obviously I am plus size. That is one of the things that I really, really want to emphasize and want to show off with my patterns, that plus size people can make beautiful, fun crochet garments. I am also going to be doing a vlog of the like pattern writing process, the designing, doing the pattern testing, that whole process, and then actually releasing the pattern. So if that's something that you're interested in, even if you do or don't want to apply to be a pattern tester, then maybe keep an eye on my page because you'll see that in hopefully 10 weeks ish. Thanks so much for hanging out with me, and I'll hopefully catch you on the next one.